longest intro I've ever had. It's coming in. Come out the door now. So how we doing? Tyler Technologies, largest software corporation in the nation, right? It's amazing to be at your holiday party with y'all. And it is a blessing and cool for me. Because actually being in Arizona is cool for me because I'm from Florida. Anybody here from Florida? No? Tampa, Florida? No? Anybody here from Phoenix? There you go. I just learned that the people from Phoenix, y'all are called Phoenicians, right? Yeah, so that's pretty exotic for a guy from Tampa. Because I'm a Tampa. Right? Well, hold on a minute. Let me get comfortable real quick. Yeah. Now that I've dropped 150 IQ points and become a suspected Trump supporter and racist, let me tell you all about growing up with Tampa. It was rough for my mother. It was, yeah. You know, because I didn't have normal role models. Things are going on and off all over. I didn't have normal role models, and you know, like normal kids, you know, like want to be firefighter, police officer, transgender triathlon champion. Right? Y'all got that one. I like that. This is smart group, IT people. You know you're IT people because you get that shit. Hey, oh, I cursed. Sorry. I was told PG-13, so I'll try to keep them curse words to a minimum. But yeah, no, I wanted to be a daredevil. Evel Knievel. Anybody remember Evel Knievel? Right? I mean, believe me, trying to grow the stuff, man, I inspired every childhood safety device invented after 1982. I did. So, because growing up in the ER was kind of rough for my life. It was. You know? I mean, she was investigated by Child Protective Services a lot. You know? So much so that they actually placed her in foster care. You know? So, but, yeah, it meant that I couldn't be beat as a child, though, for misbehaving. Right? But my mother grew up in Chicago. She was tough and crazy. Sadistic, actually, and creative. Yeah, actually, like, for example, you know, I had a potty mouth growing up. So, you know, she would curb that, you know, with a little bit of hot sauce, right? Yeah, so being the daredevil I was, I'd sneak to the fridge and build up that pain tolerance by taking a couple dabs. Yeah, but I blew my cover one night during taco night because I doused it, you know, my taco with some Tabasco. Yeah, because the next time I dropped an F-bomb on my sister, she used laundry soap. Yeah, I've been clean from Tide Pods for 5 years now. I go to meetings. Summer Breeze was my go-to. But no, she would actually think that, let me think that, you know, I was cool, you know, she was a cool mom because she would let me watch horror movies and stuff on the weekends, right? And then when I misbehaved during the week, yeah, she'd take me out into the 400-acre cornfield we were living on and start yelling, "Hey, Freddie, Jason, Becky's over here." Yo, that mom right there does that stuff. That woman right there does that stuff. But seriously, with Evel Knievel as my role model, you know, I gotta tell you, I was a little 7-year-old boy when we watched that guy try to jump the fountain out there at Caesar's Palace, right? I watched my superhero jump this ramp and miss the other side by 3 inches. He's the only man that could probably appreciate having 3 inches. But I watched as he smashed his body into the ground like a toddler throwing a Raggedy Ann doll down the stairs, throwing a temper tantrum, turning his body into a bag of bone soup. Yeah. Yeah. And all I could think was challenge accepted. So it was torture on my mom with me growing up because I didn't have, you know, normal activities, you know, that little kids had. I didn't play baseball or soccer or nothing like that. I worked in rodeos as rodeo clown. Yeah. Did demolition derby competitions. Dated preacher's daughters. I got so good at dodging bulls, Buicks, and Bibles that I got a full ride scholarship to Tampa Tech for dodgeball. I did. You know, I'm pretty sure that my playground annex too also led to a very popular MTV show named after a donkey. Because when I was growing up, we didn't have the technology for camcorders. We just did stupid stuff and nobody got to see it. But that actually led to a lot of different careers. A lot of different careers for me. A lot of opportunities like fishing and being a commercial fisherman. That was fun. You know, I did do some traveling with the rodeo and got into a little bit of trouble doing that. But my most recent career change was when I actually, about 6 years ago, went and became a registered nurse. That's how I know the British comedy doc. We in healthcare together. He's actually a doctor, I'm actually a nurse. Yeah, hold your ground. Yeah. I mean, isn't that what smart strippers do when they quit? They go back to school and become a nurse? I mean, who wants to watch this right in their face at 33 years old, right? Come on, nobody wants to see that. So, but becoming a nurse was actually, it was hard, you know. But I grew up in the ER, so I knew what I was kind of getting into, right? But you learn what kind of nurse you're going to become during CPR, because that's like the first thing you do when you go into healthcare is you have to get CPR certified. And so you learn what kind of nurse you're going to be because of the fact that when you get in there, the surgical nurses are the ones that are hands-on, so they do the chest compressions. Charge nurses, they're the ones that are a little bossy, you know, they're like, hey, call a doctor, get 911, give me the AED. You know, they're not really doing anything, just bossing people around. But ER nurses were a little sick and twisted. And this is how I knew I was an ER nurse, was because when they said, clear the vomit before performing mouth to mouth. And I was like, okay. Yeah, sick and twisted. Okay? But that's just because that's the way I grew up, you know. My mom helped me into that, you know. But being a male nurse, and I have to preface male nurse because in today's society, if I say male nurse, or just the word nurse, a lot of people just imagine a woman with big boobs and a white dress. So I got to get that out of the way because then you understand where I'm at, you know. And working in the emergency room, yeah, it gets crazy. You have crazy stories and sad stories, but you also have funny stories. You know, and the funny stories all start with a cute little catchphrase, you know. And you know, the cute little, all good stories, you know, like, once upon a time. You know, that's a cute little catchphrase. In the ER it is, what had happened was, yeah, what had happened was, I was sitting at the bus stop, reading my Bible, waiting to go to Grandma's house, and I'm like, sir, you have a bullet hole and a stab wound in you. What really happened? I'm not the police. Don't get me confused. Please. I mean, guys, like, everybody gets me confused as a male nurse. You know, like the guy that thinks I'm a lie detector. He comes in, he's like, what had happened was, I was in the shower and I slipped and fell on my shampoo bottle. Sir, VO5 bottles are like this big, right? Come on. Good thing though, he slipped on it upside down. So I told him, all we're gonna do is just unscrew the cap, pull it right back up. He looked at me and goes, what are you gonna do about the conditioner bottle? What? I fell twice. See, got me confused. Human lie detector. So, but working in the emergency room, you get some crazy stuff, right? Like having to deliver babies in the parking lot because you can't get them in the hospital fast enough. It's the only time that it's acceptable for a man to come home with another woman's bloody vagina juice all over and be like, what had happened was... Yeah, well, I mean, I get to use that stuff too, don't get me confused, okay? But even my elderly patients, you know, give me good stories, okay? You know, like the night that ambulance crew called in a 2-for-1 from the nursing home. I'm like, oh boy, we're going to be doing chest compressions on 2 people. But what had happened was, Grandpa Fred got his hands on some Viagra. And about 6 hours into his ordeal, 2 hours past the time limit, he remembers he's got a hard problem. So he visits his neighbor Ethel. Ethel, being a sweetheart, thought she might be able to help him out or relieve some pressure. Unfortunately, Ethel was allergic to Grandpa Fred's semen, and she had an anaphylactic inflammatory response in her vagina, clamping down on Grandpa Fred's penis, causing Grandpa Fred's pacemaker to fire off, shocking Ethel, making Ethel's life alert bracelet go off and alert 911. So you should have seen the look on the paramedic's face when he rolled in Grandpa and Grandma on the same gurney stuck together, trying to give me a report. That kid was really confused. I felt so bad for him. But, you know, being a male nurse, so I can tell you that I work in a female-dominated industry and I do get abused. I will tell you that. You know, because I get pulled into everything, people. I mean, the only people to request a female nurse are typically dirty old men or chicks with itchy coochies. Okay? And I'm thankful for both. Alright? But honestly, like, I understand the harassment that I suffer because, I mean, hell, I was a stripper. I was paid for that. Hashtag me too. I know what it's like. You know, like they roll in a 400-pound dead guy. I know who's doing the manual labor chest compressions on that, right? You know, so I go over and I jump up on the side of the stretcher like you see in the movies trying to do the chest compression. I'm not doing so good, so I figure I'll go cowboy up on him and, you know, saddle up and do him over the top. Well, what had happened was my scrub pants didn't work like my Wranglers used to, and the ass of my pants just blows right out. And y'all know I quit wearing a G-string after I quit stripping. So here I go rolling into the ER bay, brown-eyed winking at the doctor. He's sitting over in the corner just yelling out protocols. I need a temperature on that man. Wouldn't you know one of these sister wives, fellow nurses, thought that she would be cute and check my rectal temp? So here I am trying to be professional, doing CPR with a thermometer hanging out of my rectum. And I'm like, hey, excuse me, what you doing this weekend, girl? Don't get me confused. I need to keep my job. I got 4 ex-wives and 4 kids. Hashtag me too. But, you know, even some of my patients get me confused, you know. Like I'll walk in the room. First, before I ask this question, I have to throw out a disclaimer because it's related to healthcare. Do I have any doctors in the room? I got one. She might get this joke. I walk in the room and immediately my patients look at me and they go, hey doc. You know, and I got to stop right there and tell them, I'm sorry, I'm not your doctor. I'm a nurse. I wipe your ass. Yeah, you never see a doctor wipe an ass because there's no billing code for that. Put a billing code in there for that, and you lose every nurse in this country. They'll all become doctors. So. But the next thing that they always ask me is, they confuse me. They always go, so are you gay? Like, why all of a sudden, because I'm a man in a nurse position, do I have to change my sexuality? And what the hell has that got to do with the kind of health care I'm going to provide to you? You know, but I don't answer it like that. That's just, you know, I'm professional. I always answer that question pretty much the same, and I say, well, what had happened was, they get a kick out of that. So, But the rest of my set's pretty much dirty. I've got a lot of disgusting jokes that I don't typically tell at Christmas parties for company. So, but I do like to work with the British Comedy Doc. Do we have anybody here from Britain? No? Then you're all going to have a hell of a hard time understanding that. I mean, this guy's got a strong British accent. I love working with him, but it takes this redneck a minute to understand what he said, right? And I'm not scared to use the term redneck nowadays, people. I mean, we have all these different labels for everybody, and in my book, the redneck is close to the hillbilly. And I was a hillbilly at one point, but then I became a hillbillian because I went to college. You know? I'm testing the waters with this crowd to make sure I can get into some of my jokes. I can go back and revisit some of my times with my mom when I tortured her. Y'all remember growing up, you would torture your mom or your parents by, you know, sassing them, talking back to them, like that kid on YouTube, you know, and listen, Linda, listen, right? You remember that kid? That kid, I had that kid beat. Because growing up, I liked to listen to a radio disc jockey by the name of Wolfman Jack. Anybody here remember Wolfman Jack? He'd come on Friday nights and be like, "Ow, what's happening, all you cats and scats? It's Wolfman Jack, humming and pumping the bat as disco your radio waves can handle." Am I right? Yeah, so when my mom would be like, "Hey, it's time for bed," I would get fired up. I'd be like, "Ow! What's happening, pretty mama? This is Tommy D, sitting on the couch, can't you see, just being chill as can be," and then, Tide Pod. Send me to bed with a soapy mouth. So, but I love my mother. She actually encourages me to do a lot. She was one of my biggest fans when I was a stripper and one of my biggest supporters as a nurse, and now she watched my comedy and she's like, "Oh my God, I raised a monster. I should have beat you." I don't disagree with her all the time. But, you know, becoming a nurse was interesting, part of my life, and I do love taking care of people. I do joke around a little bit about it, but there's been some serious stuff that I've seen. And, you know, like for example, when we got Obamacare, I'm not against it or for it, but it changed the way we did healthcare. And what it did was it brought everybody in the world to the emergency room. Like some of the examples of what's not an emergency. Like a booger stuck in your nose at 3 in the morning. Under Obamacare, that's a $75 box of tissues, man. Blow your nose. Or, you know, these beautiful children they call millennials. Got a few in here, I see. If you're procreating, please read books. Because I had a mother one time bring in a child and say, "I want him euthanized and his tooth surgically removed." His first loose tooth, you know. Got a 5-year-old standing there screaming because his mom wants him put to sleep. Like a dog. So I just reached over and yanked his little tooth out and handed it to her. I said, "Make sure you leave him $5 under the pillow." We don't euthanize either. So, yeah, I mean, inflation, people, it's 2018. Men are nurses now. That stuff's $5. I used all my stripper money to go through college. Come on. So, but my dad was not real proud of me being a stripper, and most of that reason is because he knows I'm greedy. So I danced for a lot of gay guys, because women don't pay. I mean, I'd have women put $5 in the front, I'd turn around, they'd take 3 out the back and play like this. You know how embarrassing that is? I I understand the 50% off crap. But I never took my G-string off. I was not a nude stripper. I only went down to a G-string. That way I had some kind of integrity left. Yeah. But seriously, the gay men always paid. And so, you know, as a redneck growing up, I did have a racist father. I had Archie Bunker as a father. He was racist, he hated gay people and all this, and he didn't know why. He was completely clueless to it, and it was because that's the way he was raised. So I went through life experiences that got to change all that. Like, I understood Brokeback Mountain. It's a beautiful love story about two cowboys that fall in love, and they just can't be together because that's the society that we live in. And so when I became a nurse, and everybody thought I was gay, I was like, well, damn. Maybe I am. I just like women too much. So much so that I got 4 ex-wives. Yeah. Apparently I don't do that right. Yeah, I've actually, my brother, I've got 2 of them, and they both think I'm gay. One of them just told me to go find women I hate and buy them houses. Because his belief is that with me, the leading cause of my divorces is getting married. So, we've signed a contract though that he gets to play Call of Duty on me if I ever do decide to get married again. And if you don't understand what that is, he gets to be up on a hill somewhere as a sniper and turn me into a pink cloud when I say I do. That one's the one I stay married to. Had to move out of Florida though, because you can't be married more than 5 times in the state of Florida. So, filed for that divorce and headed out here. To where it's hot as hell. And none of my ex-wives live. So, it's humid in Florida, but at least there you can stay cool. Not out here in Arizona. The sweat evaporates before it leaves your body. Dry heat is no joke, people. I have never understood why people live in hell. When I first came out here, I was a travel nurse. I went to a lot of different remote areas, and one of these areas was Bullhead City. I believe it's called Hell's Furnace. I worked mid-shift 1-to-1. Do you know that 2:30 in the morning it was still 107 degrees in Bullhead City in the middle of July? Yeah. So I just went to the Colorado River and went to sleep. I think it's like 72 degrees year round. It's beautiful. And I peed in it because it's fast. That river moves. So. But I'm getting close to running out of material because you guys just keep laughing and I'm like, geez, I can't come up with any more clean jokes. It's running over. I'll give you one dirty one that I learned in the emergency room, and then I'm going to bring out the British comedy doc to wow you with his amazing accent that I have a good time understanding. And I say that with a lot of love. In the emergency room, I learned that nurses are a little bit freaky, okay? And it's because we're taught the human anatomy at a very highly scientific level, so we're kind of experts at the human body, you know? So like take for example, tech people, okay? You guys are like probably twerking around on stuff at home, you know? Like playing with floppy drives and, you know, defragging, you know, softwares and all that good stuff. I'm just saying that nurses might be at home twerking around on stuff too. Okay? Because a nurse told me one time, do you know the difference between kinky and perverted? And I looked at her, no. She said, kinky is when you use a feather, and perverted is when you use the whole chicken. She figured that out after she took care of a patient one night, a man holding his chicken. Y'all have a wonderful night. I appreciate you coming out and entertaining us. I am on Facebook, I am on Instagram, I've got some comedy shows around the Phoenix area, and so you can come out and check me out live, and I do appreciate y'all's time. Let's bring up, actually I'll do the British comedy